Morning, evening, or afternoon. I'm your host, Nathan. Welcome back. It's been a while, actually. I forgot we had to do the news, and because my editor fractured his leg, he fell down the stairs. Kind of concerning on my part. But before we actually get on to the telegrams and the news and whatever it is, these telegrams are from the 7th and possibly 8th of April. I didn't check yet, but we'll need to fact check that afterwards. But without further ado, let's get into the news. So first on the list we have the Spanish Army. The Spanish Army addresses neutrality, issues warning in the Philippines. The High Command of the Colonial Army in the Philippines, based at Fort San Pedro, Cebu, has issued a statement addressing the neutrality of unspecified squadrons. While neutrality is accepted, any attempt to rescue Julio or his generals will not be tolerated and could harm Anglo-Spanish relations. Foreign shipping, especially from Western powers, will be recognized and accepted in Mindoro. However, any military assistance in Meronia will not be tolerated by the Spanish, the Valorians, or the Japanese troops in the area. Additionally, a Spanish expeditionary unit of 30,000 troops has arrived to Belaroto port, seizing it from the Meronian Navy, crippling ships and taking 400 sailors prisoner. The unit is en route to Petro Galara, if I pronounce that right, or any names for that matter, the headquarters of the Meronian garrison in Mindoro, and is prepared to engage the Meronian forces. Next on the list we have the British Royal Navy. The British Royal Navy issues a message regarding the Philippine conflict. His Majesty in the Royal Navy has issued a message stating that the British ships carrying friendly vessels must not be fired upon. The British Empire will provide aid to refugees affected by the war by building hospitals and refugee camps near coastlines. The Royal Navy is ordered to defend these hospitals, and His Majesty has warned that any party that fires the first shot on the hospital will face the full might of the British Empire. This message is actually addressed to both Spanish and Meronian forces involved in the conflict. Third on the list we have the United States. The United States is to deploy USS Maine to Havana and troops to Mexico City. The President of the United States has directed the USS Maine to be dispatched to Havana, Cuba, carrying a detachment of 50 Marines, diplomatic personnel, and a consul. The mission's purpose is to safeguard American interests and facilitate diplomatic engagement, and establish a formal consular presence in a disciplined and non-combative manner. Additionally, the President has directed a detachment of U.S. Army troops, diplomatic personnel, and a consul to be dispatched to the U.S. consulate in Mexico City, also to be conducted in a disciplined and non-combative manner. Both deployments are under the supervision of the Department of State. Next on the list we have the Spanish and Japanese. The Spanish forces report naval victories, and the Japanese reinforce in Mindoro. The High Command of the Expeditionary Army has announced that the battle is rescheduled to April 11 due to ongoing supply unloading. The Armada Española, with 3 ships from the invasion force, has reportedly destroyed Meronian fleets in Peturo Galara and Caspian Port, eliminating Meronia's ability to counterattack at Belaroto Port. Additionally, the Spanish forces has received 18,000 Japanese reinforcements, bringing their total strength to 48,000 men. The invasion force is set to march on Petro Galara on 8th of April, which is practically today, securing positions by the 10th of April. A blockade at Petro Galara and Caspian Port will be established, allowing humanitarian aid to civilians. The blockade aims to contain the remaining Meronian Navy to estimate at 3 warships and prevent them from launching a counterattack. This is kinda messy. I don't know why. But I am looking forward on the 11th of April. Next on the list, we have the United States. The United States, or the US President, demands an explanation for the attack on American personnel in Havana. The President of the United States has issued a statement demanding a full explanation from the Spanish government regarding an attack on a US Marine detachment and diplomatic party in Havana, Cuba. According to official reports, the group, which had disembarked from USS Maine and was proceeding to the newly established US consulate, was fired upon by Spanish forces. The escort, consisting of 50 Marines, 6 consular staff members, and 2 consular officials, resulting in 26 confirmed casualties, including 23 Marines and 3 consular staff members. The remaining personnel withdrew from the engagement, but the United States government views this act with utmost gravity and demands immediate assurance for the protection of US personnel and interests within the Spanish territory. Then later on, the Viceroy of Spain itself has responded to the attack on US Marines in Havana. The Viceroy of New Spain has issued a statement claiming no knowledge of the attack on US Marine personnel in Havana. The Viceroy assures that a court martial will be held for anyone found responsible for ordering an attack and that an investigation will be conducted. The Viceroy speculates that the attack may have been a result of misinterpreting the US President as an invasion force or a violation of Spanish sovereignty. As a result, all colonies in Central America, Latin America, Asia, and the Caribbean will be alerted that the US has the right to establish a consulate and that the US Marines docking in colonial ports should not be considered an invasion force. The Viceroy also pledged to try to pay for damages and will alert all colonies to prevent similar incidents in the future. Finally, the last one. Took so long, I'm running out of breath. So yes, last one is Spain. The Viceroy of New Spain orders court martials. The Viceroy of New Spain has issued a statement informing all officials of the Viceroyalty that American forces in Havana, acting as protection for diplomatic officials, are legal and not an invasion force. The Viceroy has also ordered all generals in Mexico City and Havana to court-martial the artillery officer responsible for the attack on US Marines. As the investigation revealed, it was caused by artillery fire, followed by infantry fire. The Viceroy has also ordered the investigation and court-martial of the infantry officer and any sailors involved. All officials have been informed via telegram. The Viceroy has also confirmed the approval of US consulates in Havana and Mexico City. And that will mark the end of this broadcast. By the way, if you might ask, how long did it take for me to record every single voice cover? It took around 3 hours. Why? Because I f***ed up multiple times. I know. I know not everyone's perfect on this. But hey, it took 3 hours. At least we gave it our all. And we still delivered. So don't ask. And by the way, the editor's still fine. He just fractured his leg. It would heal in a couple of weeks, I think. But everything's fine, actually. It took only 5 hours with summarization and editing. So, yeah. I wish you a splendid evening, morning, or afternoon.